So this was a little bit more of an all over the place episode.
It was.
We had ancient lacrosse, the train not theft, but subterfuge and bomb planting, and then Indian restoration of her leg. This was one of the weirdest episodes I've seen them put in a Marvel Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the sort of negative reviews towards this episode specifically, how the pacing was just kind of all over the place. And that is true, but at the same time, as far as like the characters go, I'm there's nobody in here that I'm disliking except for Henry. I've got some I got some bones to pick with that guy.
Yeah, got a feeling we're gonna get a lot more from him later, but yeah, so you had the awakening power, I guess, of them back in the lacrosse thing with I don't know what else to call that. That just looked like lacrosse to me.
You're not too far off. They call this Choctaw stickball, which I guess is like sort of the earlier version of lacrosse.
Okay, got it. Those who don't know, there's actually a town in Wisconsin called Lacrosse. Have no idea if it has anything to do at all with the sport, but I always thought that was weird when I was growing up. Yeah, and I'm not sure if these past scenes are getting to something or if they're just there to show that she has ancient ancestry that has some cool powers.
Again, hard to say without just like rushing right to the end, but it does seem like that is there at the very least just to establish where her powers are coming from.
Yeah, and they so far seem to be swirly hand strength enhancers at the current moment because it only manifested in her hand so far. So, yeah, the train effects look cool. Like you could tell a little bit like in parts that it was CG, but that is what it is. I like the rapport between Echo and Biscuits.
Biscuits is just my favorite. He's every Marvel show or movie has to have that one guy who's just kind of the lovable, naive guy in the chair, and he's sort of becoming that. But
we have the guy in the Chevy S10.
Yeah, and the only difference is he doesn't really know what's going on, and I understand why, because he can't know too much, because if he does, that'll cause chaos in the family.
Like it already has.
And that's kind of the problem, that like in spite of all of her efforts, the secret got out.
Yeah, which I knew it had to get out pretty quick because again, rather short series we've got going here. And there's a lot of moving parts and people in this one right away. So you gotta kind of deal with most of them in a rather quick fashion because you still have to have a showdown with Kingpin that should not only last one episode.
Nope.
So yeah, man, like the legit only complaint I have about the show so far is pacing. This is the one where it feels like they had an idea, cool, we want to write a show about the character. We're kind of building the road as we drive down it.
Yeah, it feels like that. And we know through the grapevine that Daredevil has been gutted and reworked, so
Yep. I
I
think
I wonder if that's the reason why instead of drawing this series out, Marvel and Disney just wanted to like put it all out there all at once because we're clearly moving into a new direction.
absolutely this got to the point of where they're like, okay, we need to be a little bit more focused. This is not that their TV shows have been bad, but it feels like this is the one where they felt it was getting out of hand and they didn't put, I would say, the polishing touches on it because they were like, if we're gonna let any of them slide with the normal fine tuning, this one was at the end of the production line. And I think it might partially suffer strictly from just that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like
It
I said, it's still
it's
enjoying
it's
it.
it's unfortunate that this is getting like the short end of the stick, but on the other hand, at least now, even only after just 2 episodes, I understand like the I understand the appeal from their perspective of like why Maya Lopez deserves her own series, even if it's just like a mini series.
Absolutely, yeah. There is an idea there. And dealing with Kingpin, and from you want him to be a street level Thanos, you need to make him a big deal.
Yeah, he can't just have like a single relationship with
No.
Daredevil. He needs to have he needs to establish his like dominance over his corner of New York.
I've mentioned this many times. He is a crime boss in Marvel, New York. He's not just bumping into Daredevil accidentally every other Tuesday. Again, you rob a car, you are getting stopped from anyone from Reed Richards to Iron Fist. There is a lot of people in New York.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting to see where they go and how they, if we can kind of see where the possible interjection of cuts and jump aheads in parts will be, because this will be the last. Is this the last TV series before Daredevil, other than Wakanda thing?
Um, good
That's live
question.
action.
Good question. Let me see.
Because it'll definitely be able to tell where the kind of when we need to gather our focus.
Agatha is a
I keep forgetting about that.
I don't blame you. Agatha is allegedly coming out in late 2024.
I think we talked about this last time, but that's probably going to be something that gets dropped over whatever Halloween weekend is. That'd make the most sense.
Do you think it'll be another binge like this, or is it gonna be the traditional one episode?
I don't know. Because we don't know how long. Do we know how long it is?
I don't think so.
I mean, if it's like more than 6, I would say they might drag it out because that would get you through a decent part of the end of the year. And there's like nothing coming out for Marvel outside of Deadpool. So it's not like they're waiting to draw you out to something. And like, I have no idea what Agatha's going to be about, but that's, in my opinion, not going to tie into anything that we know about.
Yeah, so
So it might just be a Halloween Day binge.
it could be.
Yeah, I could see that being something that they do. Just give you something to watch over the whole weekend, do a good job advertising it, and say it's all here. I could see that. That's probably what's going to happen. But any other notes I really got to say from this episode? I like that. You know how Made in China is the thing where if it's something knockoff or whatever, I like how Madripoor has become that for the MCU.
Yep. I also just love how Madripoor is just generally speaking established in the MCU because that gets us closer to more X-Men stuff.
It do that be good old stomping grounds of Sir Logan Schnicht. But yeah, it's like I said, there's not a lot to talk about in this one. This is a pretty straightforward episode, other than the fact that I still think it's hilarious. And 20, I don't know if the show is in continuity in 2024 because I know the MCU I think is partially ahead of us, if I remember correctly. I know that dates didn't exactly line up.
Yeah, I don't really know what the dates are anymore because in the real world, like projects have been shifted, a pandemic happened,
Yeah.
so
But I just find it funny how the guy's not hawking a PS5, he's hawking a PS4. I just love that. How in all these things, it's just like, nope, still can't get PS5s. Even though they're widely available and there's no chip shortage. Oh, always makes me laugh. Yeah, we have the secret out that Bonnie's there now. That was a good little touch. I like that. And then you have the small little fight at the end of we don't want any New York troubles here. I really don't have anything else to talk about this episode. This is a pretty straightforward episode.
yeah. The next one though is one that I'm excited to dive into because I've heard it's like it's like mostly a silent movie.
Really?
Yeah, this is the one I've heard. It's this and episode 4 that I've heard are like the ones that people like the most.
Interesting. Alrighty then. I'm looking forward to that then. I don't got anything else to show. Mike, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me in all the various social media at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterbox.com/Coach K42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and that place at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You can escape, so do we.
Absolutely. And you can find me everywhere on Organoid Zero, mainly Twitch and YouTube. Until next time, we will see you all later.
Peace.
Bye.